Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name's Catherine and I make videos about dyeing, sewing, and upcycling. If that sounds like something you're into, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. So today I'm going to be making this hoodie in my video, and I'm going to go over all my pattern hacks that I did to make it a maternity hoodie. The pattern I used was not a maternity pattern. It was just a regular sweatshirt pattern. I got it on Etsy. I'll link it down in the description below. And it's actually just a really great hoodie pattern. So if you're looking for a good hoodie pattern, I definitely recommend it. But I'm going to be hacking it to be a maternity pattern for myself. If you're a follower on my channel, you know that I'm making my own maternity wardrobe, and I have dyed this fabric from ice dyeing. And if you're interested in learning how to do this kind of dyeing, I have a whole playlist on my channel, and I'll link that down in the description below. Last week I dyed this fabric, so this week I'm going to sew with it. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It does wonders for my channel and helps me to know what kind of videos you guys are enjoying. So without further ado, let's get into the video, and I will start with all the supplies that I used for this project. So as always, I'm listing all the supplies and links down in the description below. First, you're going to need a hoodie pattern. I will put the one I used in the description. 2 to 3 yards of knit fabric depending on the size, extra sharp pins, fabric scissors, a ruler, a marker, and a safety pin for the drawstring. Then you're going to need dyed to match thread, so thread that matches. I'm just using white, a drawstring for the hoodie, a double needle for double needle top stitching, that's optional, a sewing machine, a serger for your knits, an iron, and of course an ironing board. So this is a PDF pattern, so I had to print it out and tape it together and then cut it apart. So that was the first step that I did for the pattern. I like to mark the size that I plan on cutting out because it's easy to get mixed up and cut out the wrong line. So I'm just going to go with a highlighter and mark them all. Then I'm going to get my fabric ready. It's pre-washed, and I dyed this fabric last week. Like I said, I'll put the link for that tutorial down in the description. So I'm just going to start to lay out my pattern pieces, and I'm going to hack this to be a maternity pattern. So I'm adding about 3 inches at the waist, and then I'm going to kind of flatten out that curve on the side seam just for myself. But this is a great hoodie pattern even if you don't want to hack it. There is no seam allowance on this pattern, so I am marking it with a marker and cutting it out on the fabric. I'm doing 1/2 inch. I like to always make my patterns a little bit bigger than too small. You can always make something smaller, but it's really hard to make something bigger. So I'm just going to keep cutting everything out. For the hood, I'm just doing 2 layers. I want it to be a springy hoodie. I don't want it too heavy. So once I get it all cut out, I'm going to take off the pattern pieces, and the first thing I'm going to do is sew up that center back seam. If you guys haven't already, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It really helps my channel. It helps new people to find my channel, and I really appreciate it. It's free and it's easy for you. So now I'm going to pin up my center back seam, and I'm choosing the side that I like the best from the dye job to be the right side of the fabric. So I'm just going to pin it up carefully and sew it along the center back seam. And of course I'm going to use my serger to sew it up. So next I'm moving on to my sleeves, and there is a little dart in the sleeves that I'm going to sew up, and I'm going to just make sure that I am doing a left and a right. So I don't want to have 2 left sleeves or 2 right sleeves. So as I pin them, I'm going to just double check that they are mirror image, and that is really important. I don't know if you've ever sewn 2 right sleeves or 2 left sleeves, but I definitely have, and it's super annoying. So I'm going to mark the front and the back with a little marker. There are no notches on this pattern, so I'm just taking the liberty to make my own kind of markings. They're not exact, but I just want to make sure like I know which is the front and which is the back. So I'm going to just kind of like freehand mark them. So here they are all sewn up, and I used the serger, and you can see I kind of curved it. I didn't want it to be like a point, so I kind of just used my judgment to curve them. And next I'm going to give them a press just to kind of get that point out if there is a point. Nothing like a pointy shoulder on a hoodie to ruin your look. So I'm going to mark where I started the extension and where I want to end the extension, and that's going to be where I'm going to start and stop my gathering on the side seam. So I'm marking both on the left and the right side before I take the pattern off of the front piece, and next I'm going to gather it. After I gather the front piece, I'm going to go back to the back and attach the sleeves. This is a raglan sleeve, so I am going to attach them one side at a time and just make sure I'm doing the back to the back and the front to the front. So they kind of overlap here, and you can see I have the right sleeve on and the left sleeve is getting pinned on now. So after I get it pinned on, I'm just going to sew it up with my serger. I like to serge with pins in. I know it's a little lazy, but I'm just really careful, and I always stop to take the pins out first. This is a Brother serger. I love it. It's really strong, and it's not very fussy, and it's easy to thread. I'll link it down in the description below. So here is the back connected to both the sleeves, and it's looking good. The next thing I'm going to do is add the front. So here is the front piece here, and you can see there's some gathering on the sides there. Just going to make sure that it's lining up, and I'm going to attach the front armhole to the sleeves. So when I'm working with knits, I like to line up the edges of the pieces and then start by pinning them together and then working my way in the middle of the pieces to kind of work that ease in and just make sure that the pieces are fitting together. It's a little bit tricky, but you know, this is a curved edge, and it's also a stretchy fabric. So here it is. It's starting to look like a hoodie, which is really exciting, and I'm going to sew up those raglan front seams. So next I'm going to add the cuff of the sleeve. I'm going to do this before I sew up my side seam and the underarm seam. That's going to be one of the last things I do on the body. So it's a lot easier to add a cuff, and you don't have to sew in a tiny little circle this way. So I'm just going to make sure I like the side of the fabric I want to use, and then I'm going to pin it on. This is a little bit bigger than the sleeve edge, so I'm just going to start in the middle and then work my way out for this one, just because I want to make sure it's not like too big. So next I'm going to double needle top stitch on the cuff after I give it a little press. I just got this double needle for my machine, and I love it. It works with my machine, which is vintage, and it took a little getting used to, but I think it makes it look super polished and cute. I'm also going to double needle top stitch on the raglan seams just to give it a little bit more polish. You can also zigzag if you don't have a double needle. So finally, I am going to pin up my side seam, just adjusting the gathering so that it matches up on the armhole and the hem. And I'm just going to pin up the whole thing and then sew it up. It's always a really exciting point when it starts to look like the finished garment. So I haven't added the hood yet, but I'm just throwing it on the form to kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like and make sure everything's looking good. So far I think this looks great, and I love the pattern with this fabric. Time to move on to the hood, and I'm just going to pick the best side for the right side, and I'm going to serge it all along the seam there. Here it is, it's serged. I'm just giving it a little press just to make sure it's not rippling at all. Then I'm going to pin it onto the neckline just to make sure that it's working and kind of get an idea of what the overlap in the front is going to be. So I got it pinned on and it's overlapping a couple of inches in the front, and I decided that I wanted to make the drawstring casing about an inch or so. I could have probably done a little bit more. There were no set instructions on this part, so I just kind of did what I thought seemed reasonable. And it's a pretty deep hood, so I probably could have done 1.5 inches, 2 inches and been fine. I'm going to be using this drawstring piece. I got this at Fab Scrap when I was volunteering, and it's so cute. I just want to make sure it's going to be the right size for this drawstring. So whatever drawstring you're using, just make sure it's going to fit fine. I'm just going to make a buttonhole for the opening of my drawstring casing. And again, I'm just going to do it a little bit up so that I know I have plenty of room for my seam allowance, about 1 inch or so, and I'm making it 1/2 inch. I don't want it to be too big. You can also use grommets or whatever you want for your sweatshirt. So here's my buttonhole, and I did mine on the inside, which was kind of a personal choice. You can do it on the inside or the outside, but I'm just going to kind of cut that buttonhole free and make sure that it's working. Then I'm going to sew up the casing for the drawstring, and I'm going to use a double needle top stitch, and I have to do it on the front. That's the way the double needle top stitch works. So I'm just going to be really careful. Next, I'm going to attach the hood. I'm just trimming the neckline here. It didn't have perfect edges. And I'm going to start with the center back, seam to center back seam on the hood, and then I'm just going to pin the whole thing on with an overlap in the front. Here it is with the overlap and the casing. You can see it works fine. Next, I'm going to put my drawstring into the casing with my safety pin. After I do that, it's time for a little try on. Okay guys, so now it's time to try it on. I always like to try everything on before I really finish everything. So here is the hood, it's on. And in retrospect, I kind of wish that I had made these higher up on this hem right here. Put it on, it's like a very deep hood. So if you're like really, if you're trying to sleep with like, you know, a shade, maybe that would be good. Yeah, the sleeves look nice. They're a good length for me. I did not do the pockets just because I didn't want to add any extra bulk. So this is the bottom band, and it's supposed to go like down here. So this is very long. And I really want it to be more of like a shirt to wear with leggings. That's the thing. I don't have a lot of legging outfits. I'm not really a legging girl. Now I'm kind of like thinking, okay, what can I wear with leggings? Which is why I wanted to make this shirt. So I think what I'll do is just narrow this and then double needle top stitch it with like a 1-inch hem. It is springtime and it's getting warmer. I was thinking of possibly putting this on and then making it like a dress, but for now I really do want it to just be like a shirt that I'll wear with leggings. So I'm just gonna hem it and see how it goes. I can always keep this and take the hem out and then add this to it if I want to wear this as like a sweatshirt dress with like sneakers or something, which could be cute. But I think that this is more of my style. I'll wear this more, so I'm going to do it that way. So I'm just going to ignore the band part of the instructions and just hem it up and wear it as is. So here's the 1-inch hem, and I just sewed it up and it's ready to go. So here is the finished product, and it looks great. I love it. There is still plenty of room for it to grow with me in my pregnancy, and it's just a great little sweatshirt for a cool spring day. If you guys are still watching this video, be sure to comment sewing hacks down below so I know that you guys are enjoying these videos. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to go and follow me on my social medias at Onyx Art Studios and tag me if you recreate any of my projects or make your own version. I also have online dyeing workshops on my website, onyxartstudio.com. If you like this video, here's some other videos for you to check out. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!